Martin Gallegos is with us. We'll go till noon. Then we're going to take a 2-hour break where we will speak with Bob Melvin's going to stop by here.
Just confirmed, Padres PR said they'll bring him over when he's done with his availability.
So Bob Melvin will stop by, and then we'll take it from 2 to 4 o'clock and wrap it up and to see. I mean, I got to think at some point we're going to hear some type of news of one of the shortstops. I mean, because some teams, they don't want to leave here without some news. Because the reality is it's business, right? You make a big signing, help season tickets, sell merch for Christmas, get everybody excited, right? Because once you get into Christmas and the New Year's, everybody's not thinking about it until spring training. So you like to make news now.
For sure, especially if you're a team that was in on Aaron Judge and didn't sign him. So
yeah, it is like a big, like you could tell, we can tell from our Giants fans, it's like, oh,
yeah,
they're pretty bummed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone went to sleep. I went to sleep last night. I don't know what was going to happen. Then you wake up this morning and you see the reports. So it was. I mean, especially. I mean, if you're a Giants fan, it's got to be brutal, especially when you saw the Heyman chain of tweets with he did sign Aaron Judge, and then taking it back. So whirlwind of emotions for sure.
All right. So what do you think? So Diaz signs with the A's, more versatility. Peterson. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, we've always known the A's to be teams that really place an enormous value on guys who are versatile, guys who are utility guys, and those two guys right there. Jace Peterson can play all around. Aledmus Diaz as well. So I mean, it fits the mold of guys that the A's go after. So it's nice to see them making some moves. I mean, they're active, and it seems like they're still trying to add some guys.
David Force told us when we started out, David was our Ricky Henderson. He led off the meetings. He led off all this coverage and said, we have contracts out there right now. We have offers out there. And I know people are like, they're not lying. They had offers out there. They're looking. They're not spending big money, but they're spending money. They're trying to get better.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I heard, Jose Quintana just signed. I heard they were in on him before he signed with the Mets. So sounds like they could be looking for maybe a more veteran type starting pitcher to add here. So, they're going to go out there. I mean, they need to field a team, right? They need to bring in guys, major leaguers who are proven, guys who they can count on. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them make, a few more moves here. And the Rule 5 coming up, they'll probably pick a guy there too, I think.
David Force, the general manager of the A's, has just entered the room as feeling pretty confident and you got Chad Smith, a reliever. What'd you think about that move? Criswell was the second-round pick out of Michigan. We liked him just because he'd come on the show before and when he was drafted. But what'd you think about that move?
Yeah, it was an interesting one. I mean, to move a prospect away, I think he was ranked their number 18 prospect. So that tells you something about what they feel about Chad Smith. He's a guy who they feel can fit into their bullpen. They had some guys that merged last year, who could throw hard. Chad Smith, a little bit different mold, more of a sinker slider type guy. So I'm sure it's fit in somewhere in the middle innings for Mark Kotsay. But again, a guy who has some major league experience. I think they're looking for guys who have major league experience and guys who they can count on for a whole season.
And Wilson Contreras, who was one of the most interesting guy, is going to get traded at the deadline, takes the Cubs for Cody. This was a major deal. Took the Cubs off of his, Instagram is what he took the Cubs off his Instagram and off of his profiles.
Yeah.
Said goodbye to everybody, right?
Yeah.
He said goodbye. He did the wave to the fans and didn't get traded. He said goodbye, but he didn't get traded. And then stays with the Cubs. Now signs with the rival Cardinals. To most A's fans, you're going to be like, whatever, maybe affects my fantasy but that's a big deal, but also a big deal in A's lands because Sean Murphy has not been dealt. This was one of the places he was going to go. And I don't think Sean Murphy's going to get dealt anytime soon because we just watched our general manager walking that way, which means he's probably going on MLB Network right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, we came into the winter meetings. There was a strong feeling that it seemed like maybe Sean Murphy would get traded before this thing was over. But I think as each day goes by and you don't, the rumors kind of start to, dwindle a little bit. I think there's a better chance that the A's start out with the regular season with Sean Murphy and Shea Langoliers behind the plate. And I mean, look, they have the leverage here. They don't have to trade him. I mean, he's under control through 2025. He's cheap. He's a great player. I mean, if you want to wait until the trade deadline or beyond, they have no problems doing that. They want to get what they feel is, worthy package for a player like Sean Murphy.
And for these other teams, we keep trying to say to people, it's easier just to spend. It's easier to buy a catcher on free agency. Then you trade for Murphy because you're going to have to give up a bunch for him. And you're still, even though people say, well, he's under team control, at some point you're going to have to pay for him. You're going to have to spend for him, and you're going to have to spend that collateral. It's just easier to go out and get Wilson Contreras. And now that market for a catcher is down to, I don't know, Rays, Cubs.
Maybe Cleveland.
Cleveland's still out there.
Maybe Houston. But, yeah. I mean, I think you obviously still got to wait to see, where guys on the free agent market sign too. There's still guys like Christian Vasquez out there. So, I mean, the longer it's gone on, I get the feeling that he's going to stick around. I mean, maybe something happens here in the next couple of days, but it certainly feels right now at this point like Sean Murphy will be in an A's uniform come spring training.
Well, what else do you think about what the A's potentially could do here?
Well,
selfishly, I was thinking Cody Bellinger sounds like an Oakland ARA.
Yeah. I mean, Joey Gallo still out there. That's a possibility.
Yeah.
I think they've made some moves here. Again, like I said, the Rule 5, I think they're definitely going to pick a position player in that draft. And I mean, who knows? It's obviously, you never know what you're going to get with that. Most times guys don't end up sticking with the team, but for a team like the A's that's rebuilding and needs pieces, I think there's certainly a better chance of finding a guy there who maybe sticks around the whole year. But as you go through the offseason, I mean, we've seen the A's in the past. They'll stick around a little bit, go into January, February. There'll be some guys on the market who maybe you didn't expect to be there. Maybe they pounce on some of those guys. Maybe short 1-year deals, guys trying to rebuild their value. So they'll add pieces to the major league roster. I think obviously offense is a big part of it. Their offense was bad last year, so they need to find some pieces there. But they're also going to try to add some pitching, and I think they're interested in some veteran arms. And I mean, I think they're going to sign at least one veteran starting pitcher here at some point.
You can tell 102 losses didn't sit well, and they do not. This is not going to be a year where the A's are in a situation where they're going for the AL West, but they definitely do not want to go through what they went through last year.
Yeah, no, you got to take a step forward, in 2023 for sure. You can't go through two, horrendous years like that. I know, inside the clubhouse, they tried to stay positive and they were competitive throughout the year. They never laid down, but you got to see some progress here in year 2 with this rebuild process, and hope to see some semblance of improvement on the field. With the results battle, maybe you get close to 500. And then once you get to 2024, maybe you get some of these top prospects up like Soderstrom and Geloff. Maybe a couple of those guys make a cameo in 2023, and then you kind of build hope for the next season after that. That maybe that's the year that you maybe find yourself back competing with some of these other teams in the AL West. It's a tough division, and it seems like it's only getting tougher. I mean, every team it seems like is adding big names.
I got a feeling, though, we may see a little more of a cameo for some of these guys. They're going to push their way, and it's going to be time to say, let them, we're talking to Billy Owens earlier today, assistant general manager of the Athletics, and, talking about some of these guys that it might just be their time. We'll see how their spring training, spring is different for a lot of different people, right? Some guys go there just to get game ready, get in shape, be ready to play the season. Some people are there to earn a job, and some of the young guys work their way to the big league. So how some of our young guys perform in spring training may force the front office's hand.
For sure. I mean, there's not a lot of, you look at the roster as it currently stands. I mean, you project who's coming into spring training. There's not a lot of, secured spots, right? Like, I mean, Nick Allen's going to be your shortstop, right? Behind the plate, you feel like you're kind of set there, but I mean, outfield, infield, it's all kind of up for grabs. I mean, if a prospect comes in and impresses, I mean, why not? Why not give them a shot to start the year? And, obviously you look at guys like I mentioned Soderstrom and Geloff as guys, but I mean, there's also guys down the list, guys like Lawrence Butler, who they protected, Denzel Clark. These guys, if they perform, I mean, they could come up quick. I mean, there's nobody really blocking them at the major league level at this point.
What do you expect from starting pitching? Do you think there's more names coming in? Do you think because obviously the Kaprelian news is here we go again.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That one was kind of dropped on us on the first day here. So I mean, it sounds like a good chance he's not going to be ready for the rotation to start the year. So I mean, you've got really Cole Irvin and maybe Paul Blackburn if he's healthy again, and then some guys who came up last year like Waldechuk, Sears, Martinez. These guys were solid, but they're still relatively unproven. So I think for sure you're going to see at least one veteran starting pitcher come in, whether it's on a minor league deal or maybe a guy on a 1 or 2 year deal here, maybe a guy who's trying to rebuild some value a little bit here. or a veteran arm who's just been around the block a little bit, they're definitely going to go out and find insurance. I think, this team always, there's never too much pitching depth for a team, and especially for a team in the A situation where the options that are there that are going to be there in spring training, there's not a lot of experience there.
Well, I think about, Cole Irvin has proven the last 2 years that, this is a guy that's going to give you innings. And Paul Blackburn had a freak thing with his finger. I mean, it was an all-star last year. You think you can have him back and you can get 25-plus starts. You add one more guy. And then now you can float all these other like Waldachuk and Sears and all these guys. I mean, we all know you're going to need more than 7. We think anywhere from 10 to 13, whatever. But the A's do have a bunch of arms, but to get one more guy that you think you can rely on for innings would be huge.
Exactly. You need a guy who can, like you said, eat innings, a guy who can go out there and give you 20, 25 starts, and you don't got to worry too much about them possibly getting injured.
Anything surprised you since you've been down here that you've been hearing?
I don't know. It's different. I feel like it's a lot more. We didn't have the winter meetings the last 2 years. Obviously, the last one was 2019. It feels like there's a lot more intensity. Like there's a lot more talks. I don't know. Maybe it's just because we haven't been here in so long that it seems like talks are going on. But I don't know if anything necessarily surprised me. I think we were all kind of wondering what was going to happen with the Judge thing, and shortly after that, it seems like the moves started to trickle on down. So the Judge stuff was crazy. I mean, I'll forever remember where I was in my hotel room when John Heyman sent out the arson Judge tweet. That was legendary right there.
Well, you know what? It was a tweet that so many people were waiting just to hear it, and it's that whole thing that, people got what they wanted to hear, so they ran with it.
Yeah.
Instead of like waiting for multiple sources, what did they do? They got what they wanted, so they ran with it, and then they got burned by it.
Yeah. No, that was a harsh lesson in this business for sure.
Well, thank you for coming on, my friend. And next time we'll talk to you, who knows? Could be before Christmas, after Christmas. We'll see who else the A's are going to sign.
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be active. So we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
And if not, have a good holiday.
Thanks, Tony. You too, man.